And we are back with another outstanding episode of the Square Table Degenerates. Today we are joined by comedian Jake Frombach from the channel Joke World. How are you today,
What's going
sir?
on? I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. It's a little cooler than it was fucking Monday when it was like 1,000 degrees or some shit. It wasn't really
Yeah.
1,000 degrees, but we were, was it Monday or Sunday? Sunday was ridiculous, dude, because Sunday we had a food bank thing we were helping out with. We did a bunch of food bank. We last 2 episodes ago was waxing for the food bank. So I did a bunch of chest waxing, and I donated based on super chats. I donated the proceeds of food bank, and we went out the food. It was 90 degrees, 93 degrees, 94 degrees a whole day in humidity. And dude, I'm a big guy, dude. I don't do good in heat like that, man. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it's a little cooler, man.
How's the chest looking?
It's here. I can show you if you want. Some people haven't seen it. It's a little ridiculous here.
Hell yeah. So just did random
It looks like somebody said it looks like a hair bra I got up here.
That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know there was like a heat wave going on nationwide because I'm not really big into watching the news, but I was just up in Boston and they were saying it's a heat wave. It's the hottest it's been in a few summers. But I'm based out of Tampa now, and it just felt like every day in Florida. So I don't really know. I don't have too much sympathy for the heat wave.
Tampa ain't no
Living
joke.
in Tampa, no.
Like 95 every day down there. No way. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
It's a nice 10 UVs, but it's good for the most part. I do miss Cleveland. Like we were talking before. I've been in Florida for like a year, but I'm originally from Avon, Ohio, up by you.
Hell yeah. We're getting some of that. So what? So I didn't know much about you. You were recommended by my buddy Mike, aka Rico Zorro, in the chat. Exclusive channel member, real nice guy. So you were saying you're from Avon. Were you born in Ohio? Where were you born originally? Or were you originally you only born one time? Where were you born?
The first time I was born was in Avon, or like the west side of Cleveland. I don't know exactly what hospital, but I've lived in Avon my whole life until I went to college in Alliance, and then now in Tampa.
Okay. So you started in Avon. Did you go to Avon schools? Like, where did you go to, like, grade school and high school? Where's your high school?
Yeah, Avon High School all the way through, K through 12. Yeah, and then went to Mount Union to play football for 4 years of college.
Mount Union, okay, the Purple Raiders, good program out there.
Yeah, won a national championship there. Shout out Division III football, the Stag Bowl.
Nice. Did you guys beat like Wisconsin Whitewater or something? Who was the opponent?
It was Mary Hardin Baylor that year.
Okay.
So yeah, but I didn't really play much. But I was on the team, on the good scout team player myself.
That's how I was when I played football. Like, I was too concerned about drinking. I smoked cigarettes back then. I don't smoke cigarettes now. I smoke a lot of weed now. But like, yeah, I like the party life more than the working out. And we had 2 campuses too, bro. I went to this school called Central Catholic. And they had a campus on the east side, a campus on the west side. And like, when I was a sophomore, in order to get to football practice, I didn't drive yet. I drove later that year, but like, I'd had to take the bus all the way over to the east side just to go lift weights and shit, and come back all the way. But I ain't got time for all that, dude.
Yeah, no, fuck that. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We kept the partying going for the team because we didn't have to be too focused on what was going on the field. Shout out to Rico. I love seeing this chat. I haven't done many live events, but it's nice those things just coming right in.
Oh, it's popping, man. It's popping. Yeah, we got a whole live community, man. We go live. I mean, a lot of us are, I jokingly call it stream hoes. You know, we just love being live and stuff. I actually got to get that shirt made. I'm behind on shirts, bro. I'm a procrastinator. I think that's probably because of the weed, I would guess. But
yeah.
I mean, I know at the end of the day, I don't want to be like all the t-shirt guy, but there's a lot of decent stuff on t-shirts I need to get out. Because like all the last t-shirts we did, we took all that money and put it towards the food bank stuff. So like I haven't got any for-profit t-shirts yet. So I gotta get together with the marketing team. When I say marketing team, I gotta figure it out myself and then see what's going forward with that bullshit. You know how it goes.
So you've done some shirts before, but they were just for charity.
We got the one shirt. There's a guy in the community. His name's Blake TV, and he's just a yapper. Like the more he drinks, the more he just keeps talking. So we got these shirts made that say "Shut Up, Blake." And we sell them, and there's a code with it. The code, because he's always joking about smoking crack. So we type in the code "smoke crack" and you get like 10% off. And we donate all those t-shirt profits. Originally, I was gonna split it with him, but he's just like, and then donate the profits on my side to the food bank. But he's just like, you know what, just donate all of it. So all those proceeds went to the food bank. And there was like a couple other silly shirts we had, but nothing, I haven't done nothing big yet in terms of for-profit stuff.
But. That is awesome though. That I love that community going on too. And I feel you with the procrastination on that, because I have been, dude, my original plan was to get out merch like when the channel hit 50,000 subscribers. Now it's at like 112, I think. I just can't. I'm procrastinating so much. Some people ask for it in the comments and stuff, and I feel like we could do a pretty sick color scheme and like themed, shirts and hoodies. But it's just, I don't want to put out. I don't want it to look not perfect, I guess. You know what I mean? And
Right.
and I'm procrastinating, so that's kind of an excuse.
But I'm like you, man. I'm a perfectionist. I mean, perfectionist as much as perfectionist can be with the fucking channel for YouTube or t-shirt for a YouTube channel. But it's like I want a nice popping logo, but I want it to be interchangeable too. So like if I have a special Veterans Day t-shirt or whatever, what I mean, just something like that. You want, and it's one of those things, you see it when you get it. I mean, as soon as I see something, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be perfect. That'd be perfect. But it's like to get there, it's like such a because you don't want to be like, okay, I want an artist to do it, and you pay somebody $150, and
right?
Like, I mean,
yeah.
So I feel
I almost wish that I had the level of art talent to just keep testing stuff out for free, not have to hire someone to make it, because that can get expensive. And especially, I don't know if you use like some of these websites, but you usually get paired up with someone like overseas. Their hours are completely different than yours. So you send a message like trying to change one thing, and then you go to bed, you don't hear back for 12 hours, and there's a language barrier. I just wish that I had their talent to draw, but unfortunately that's what we got to deal with.
What I was thinking about actually in my high musings the other day, I was thinking about just getting a t-shirt press up in the studio and just going to like Mark's or some shit, when they dump all the, t-shirts for $1 or whatever, and just doing my damn stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. How much the t-shirt press cost? $300 maybe? I don't know. It might be worth it.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. But then you got to distribute it yourself, which could be an issue.
Yeah, shipping does suck. Especially overseas. That's the thing too with Teespring. You get some of these stores from the UK, boom, it's right there.
Right.
Overseas distribution and shit for sure.
And you don't have to have all that shit in your house. Yeah, I've thought of a few different ways to do it, but I find it's easier just to keep procrastinating and not do any of it.
We got our standard question from JV's Hangouts, beating us to the punch. The Queen or Beatles? What do you like better?
I guess I'll have to go with Beatles. I don't think I'm too big into older music or rock even in general. As my channel name might imply, I'm a big like modern rap fan. Juice WRLD, Mac Miller. I don't know if you can see that behind me, but there's a portrait of him up there. So that's not really my stream of music, I'd say, but I do know more Beatles songs for sure.
Okay. Somebody said you look like Vanilla Ice, and then somebody said you looked cuter than Vanilla Ice. So take that for what it's worth. That's good. I would hope so. Vanilla Ice is older than me. I'm like 40 something, and Vanilla Ice is well into his 50s. We could assume. So that's
I do like Ice Ice Baby. That's a classic, but I don't know if I could. I could name another one after that.
I'm so burnt down on Ice Ice Baby, dude. Like they played it so ironically so many times, and I've seen so many fat guys take their shirts off and dance that song. I just can't do it anymore. I just can't. That song and the Real Slim Shady. I just can't do those two songs anymore. And
they're only really played as jokes too, so it's like, how many times can you hear that and still get a chuckle out of it? Not too many.
Oh, dude, and the other one that really just annoys me, this is just a personal annoyance, is that play that funky music. Not the Vanilla Ice version. I'm talking about the 70s version. They played it every single wedding, dude. I'm so sick of that fucking song. I cannot stand that song name. Play that. Joe's gonna go sit down while you play that funky music over there. Because I can't listen to that fucking shit. No way.
Have you been to Goodnight John Boy in the Flats?
I have not. The last time was the Flats. I was at Shooters for a little bit, and I was just in Nautica for a concert a little bit ago. Me and Lep.
Oh, nice.
And the Flats has been dead since like back. I'm quite older than you. I think you're in your 20s, ain't you?
Yeah, 24.
24. Damn, you're like my daughter's around your age. Jesus, bro. But back in the 90s, man, we was hopping, dude, the East and West Bank. We used to, especially the East Bank, you could just drive up. It was like a strip, like an ocean strip kind of, like a oceanfront drive. You just drive it down Old River Road and you'd fucking see all the people partying, chicks and flashing titties, go to different clubs, whatever. And then just, after 9/11, it just started going downhill and they just never brought it back. Kind of went up the hill to Warehouse District for a little bit. That was maybe about 4 or 5 years. And then, man, the Warehouse District got bad fast and they just kind of went over to East Fort. And that's really
I'll tell you what, though. I think it's fully. I'd call it fully back now. I wasn't around before, so I don't. It wasn't. It's not quite as that crazy. I don't think there's as many people flashing their tits, but they got a lot of popping bars going down there. They got they just put a new one, the Farm. They got the one Goodnight John Boy. It's all '70s themed, so it's like a huge disco ball in there. They're playing '70s music, and the floor like lights up and shit. They have Dante's and it's. I think I like it better than West Six, to be honest, down there now.
Okay.
It's in the last like 2-3 years, there's a lot of like real nice nightlife going up down there. But my uncles told me stories about like back in the day, the old flats, and it sounds a lot more fun, a lot more gritty. He said that like the baseball players that were in town playing the Indians, afterwards they'd all just go out in the flats and you could like go right up to them in bars and say whatever the fuck you like. They're right up there with the people. I thought that was kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, if these walls could talk. I don't know personally firsthand many of the stories, but man, like the '90s Indians guys, Bayerga and Lofton and Jose Mesa, and there was something Bayerga did with somebody's wife. To this day, I don't know the details of it, but man, it was kind of like a soap opera back then with the players in the flats in the '90s. That was a wild group, man. It was really crazy. We used to have some fucking bangers down there, bro, bangers. But
yeah, that sounds fun. You don't see players just going out in public nowadays. I feel like you're not going to see,
It depends where you go. I mean, you kind of might, because it's like the flats now. It's like it's not gritty anymore. Like the blue collar stuff is gone. Like it's
right.
It's still fun, but it's not like an everyday thing. Like I still technically work downtown, even though I, here at the house at most days. And it's like if we were to go out after work, we wouldn't go to the Flash just because it's just so expensive. If you're gonna,
yeah, that's true. It's like everyone's trying to be trendy, and I know I just said how great it is, but it's also very new, and everyone's trying to fit the mold, and the drinks are all overpriced. That is definitely true.
But you can still get some fun spots in there. I mean, you gotta go to there's more in Cleveland most of the time. In my opinion, the blue collar bars are still out there. You just got to go find them. I mean, the ones downtown, there was a place called Ontario Street Cafe. It was right by where Fat Fish Blue used to be, and then they put it into like the Tilted Kilt, and I don't know what the hell's there now. Right across the street from Wahlburgers, the casino right there. But that place was like the 70s underground. It was like $6 for a pitcher of Genesee Cream Ale. It was just epic, man. Then they closed it. And it's like, there's no place we want to go now because everything's just doesn't have the feel of the old town,
Yeah, I get that. What's that place across from Progressive? It's open on the Indians game days. That's kind of gritty still.
Thirsty Parrot, I think the one.
Yeah, Thirsty Parrot and the Clevelander. Cool. Those places are still good.
Cleveland's still fun. I'll tell you, East Fort is still pretty fun sometimes. I mean, you just get that because I don't drink anymore, but I'm a weed smoker, so I like places with the patio. So East Fort isn't too bad. I did a couple mics down there. The one on East Fort was called Greenhouse. Greenhouse was it? Yeah, okay. Greenhouse Tavern. Greenhouse is fucking awesome, man.
Yeah,
fun. That was one of my favorite mics I did. Because it was like a third floor, and it was all up in the open air and shit. It was really cool.
And then you obviously got Hilarities right there, which is a great location for that. They put on some great shows. When I'm cutting up these podcast highlights, I hear all the time these comedians, they love Hilarities. They always have great things to say about that club in specific for Cleveland.
I did actually. I think I did one at Hilarities. What was the one I did? That was one. There was like some comedy contest.
Yeah. I was a part of some of those.
And it was right down there. And it was the only thing I remember from that. I remember two things from that set. That set's actually on the channel. It was way back when. If you like sort my oldest videos, you could probably find it. But like that was the one that I remember from that because I did two funny jokes that stick out to me. I did like a candidate breakdown and shit. Not a lot of people got that joke, but I easily predicted Biden was going to win. This was like June 2019, and that came to fruition like a son of a bitch. And I made a joke about Kamala the wrestler and Kamala Harris, and these two guys in the front wrestling fans just fucking busted up laughing. Dude. They just couldn't stop laughing. And like nobody else got the joke, but those two wrestling fans, they just love that fucking joke. Hey,
yeah, that's great. Is that in that like martini lounge? Like they have that little stage. And,
you go in the back and there's a little part in the back. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that contest. I used to do that because they did it like 3 times a year. I feel like they had it pretty recurring. They would have like the Cleveland Comedy Open. I used to love entering that one. Because you could do it so often. So I would drive up from Alliance. It's like only an hour and a half, and throw my hat in that ring, and that was always fun.
Oh, yeah. We got a question from Andrew. He says, "Do you know members only Dave the DJ?"
I do not.
I don't
members
know.
Only Dave the DJ. Yeah, what is members only?
Yeah, I don't know if
What's the members only part?
yeah, I don't know.
No, I guess
I'm
my
just
answer is no.
I don't know if it's a joke or he's just asking a question there. I'm not sure. All right. What now you were coming up in Avon. Now, like you were like a class clown going through school, were you constantly joking, or were you like in the choir? What was going on there?
Yeah, I actually was. I'm in the yearbook as the class clown. I won that award. Yeah, I just like to have a good time. Had a good friend group, and we all just like to crack jokes with each other. I thought it was pretty fun, and when you're in a funny environment, you're always making your friends laugh. Your friends are always making you laugh. It's just easy, to get riffing like that. I was really into sports, so you always have teammates. You have locker rooms to be always very social in, and yeah, just making people laugh is easy. It feels really good for when you're busting someone up. So it was just kind of a natural thing, and then from there, just getting into comedy after that was I saw just a sign for an open mic in when I was in college, I think in my sophomore year. And because we only had one bar in Alliance, it's called Chives. And because Alliance is a very small town.
Dude,
It's only
Alliance
be
is a
three,
joke,
four.
bro. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Alliance is if there was one thing I remembered about Alliance, it wasn't Alliance though. It was a town right by Alliance. I'm trying to think of the name of it now. It's like ran tip of my tongue. But the it was damn it. It ended with Hartville, Ohio. You cannot. It's an entire dry town. You cannot buy beer anywhere in that town. You
Really?
Yeah, the entire town's fucking
Man,
dry. It drove me up a wall.
that sucks. Alliance was pretty shitty. It's without the school, I don't know what it would be. It's like the townies there are pretty scary. They're all kind of strung out on crack, and the roads are bad. The town is falling apart. There's literally one bar, and it's like supposed to be a college town. So like I don't know how they don't have people coming in there, alumni like trying to open up new spots, like new bars. It would go so well because the one bar isn't even nice. So yeah, it was not a lot to do there, but they hosted an open mic and oh shit, that one got you good.
Oh yeah. They had a
And
mic. They had a mic out there. You just did it right there. How did you do?
I think I did like a minute and 30 seconds the first time, and because there was only like 3 or 4 people that even signed up, so it didn't really matter. And I was super nervous. It was during football season, I remember, and we were supposed to not be drinking during the weekdays. We were only allowed to drink on the weeknight, so I had to ask one of the captains if I was allowed to go to this open mic night. And I'm like a sophomore on the team. I'm not valuable very much to the team. And this is the captain that I have to ask. So he says, yeah, we have to film it for us and we're going to play it at the captain's meeting. So now there's this pressure on me because he's expecting it to probably be bad. So that's going to be this like embarrassing moment for me. So now I have all this pressure on me to, I'm writing jokes in my Google Doc. That's just how I started. I would just write in the Google Doc the same paragraph over and over and over again. And I thought it was going to be 5 minutes in my head, and it was about a minute and 30 seconds long. And I would say it was that bad, but it definitely wasn't good. It was good enough for me to want to go back again. Like it didn't go horribly wrong. I didn't have any like terrible first bomb. Like I don't know if I was delusional or if it actually was okay, but it wasn't enough. It was enough for me to be like, I want to keep doing this. And so I think those were on Wednesdays, and I just kept going back every Wednesday. But I always thought it was that you had to have different jokes every time you'd go. So I would tell myself I'm going to write all week and keep going to this thing, but mostly it was like Wednesday morning when I wake up, I would try to get something down really fast, and I can't imagine that any of those are very good. I still have the videos, but it's almost like too scary to watch, like some of those really first early ones. And then I kind of dove into becoming more of a student of comedy, listening to podcasts where comedians talk about writing jokes and like how they come up with jokes and trying to apply that to what I was doing, and just trying to commit more to not just doing it the morning of, and then also realizing as I learned more about comedy that you don't have to come up with different jokes every single time. Like you can start working on one and use it many times on stage until it becomes good. So once I realized that I could try to create one set and then keep using that and keep working that out instead of like you have to have a different joke every time you go on stage, that's when things really started to progress, because I could think of ideas, I could like work them out. And so yeah, I went from there to joining Facebook communities and groups to find stage time, and then that's how I got start, getting more mic time in Cleveland rather than Alliance, because Alliance is like the shittiest place. So like that's not, anyone's getting up there, and the crowds aren't that great because it's either very elderly people that were at this bar for like the lunch deal because it was at like 7 o'clock, or it was other college kids that are just like having full-blown conversations because it's the only bar for this whole school. So it was not a great place to start, but I was able to kind of get enough practice to be good enough to go to a real city like Cleveland.
People sentenced to an open mic, pretty much. You're doing comedy, you got to dodge a dart on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just this guy like ruining people's nights basically in this first bar. Like no one was there for the comedy show. So
yeah, that's what kind of drew me away from like mics, is because I'm like you. I mean, you sound like me, like into where I don't like repetition. I don't like repetitive shit. Like the same jokes over and over and over again. My buddy Mayo, he was supposed to be here, but he's a pothead. He's smoking pot, so he's not gonna be here. I
thought that's the point of the show. He can do it on camera.
And he does he might still stop over after because he still want to buy a half off me, but we'll see. But the mics, he's doing mics, and I've heard him a couple times, and I've seen most of the bangers in Cleveland, Bill Squire, Mary Santoro, all those guys, and I've heard a lot of their sets 3, 4, 5, 6 times to some of the same jokes, and I know that's how they do it. But like, I don't like the repetitive nature of it. And when I was getting up there, I tried the traditional, memorize a joke, and I would just smoke so much I couldn't fucking remember it. And I was like, I had the Word document open, and the one time I actually fucking put my set on like an auto text reader, and I just played it over and over and over again, thinking I could osmotically learn it, and it didn't fucking work. So that's when and we did a decent mic. We had me and the boys had an open mic right before everything shut down. And then we were going to do a second one. It was so successful up here at the VFW. And then everything shut down, obviously. And that's when we were already doing this show before that. And then that's when everything went virtual. It's just so much fresher. For one, you could do it right at the house. I can just see it. It's beautiful. I'm not saying I'm not going to ever do a mic again. I probably will sometime. That's the next logical step from here. But like, it's, man, just the way they treat comics, the way they pay people, the way they basically you're a slave until you make it. It's like it's just a shit environment, man. Everybody's a fucking hater too. I hate that part of it. I hate that part of it, man.
Yeah, that I definitely feel that, especially in the Cleveland scene where there's not 10 mics a night. So it's like you're gonna see everyone who's trying this thing. You're gonna see them every time that you go to any mic because there's only a few a week and they're only at one place. And I feel the same way about how you can just sit and do something like this and still, work that comedy, itch that you have, and try to make people laugh and be making content. Because I feel the same way about going to mics now versus like should I be going to a mic and waiting 3 hours to get up for 5 minutes for a half empty room and just like be spewing these random ideas, or should I be working on another YouTube video that a lot of people seem to be enjoying, and I'm still able to put content out there, especially if it's one that I'm in, or the comedy news update, or filming a podcast like this. It's like, I don't know, this is not only easier, but it's also like has more traction and is bringing me the same amount of joy. So, but then I also feel guilty because I'm like, I love comedy, I love going on stage, this is like something I want to do. And I can't tell if I'm just bitching out and like making this big excuse of like, oh, I have to work, I have to do this video, or if I like actually, because there's nothing like being on stage and making people laugh and having a good set. It's the best. So yeah, it's hard to find that balance.
It is. It's addicting to get people to laugh. You get a funny joke and it pops, but it's like, man, that everybody is either stand-up comics themselves or they're buried in their phone. I mean, sometimes that's why I'll do the right room, but I'm just not going to do any room. I mean, it's these people still get 1980s and 90s advice. If you're a comic, you don't have a nice digital footprint, you're going to be a step behind the rest of them. You really are.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to. Nowadays, it seems like comedy's all happening online. And it's almost like if you just had a nice backdrop in your house and were just in front of that and had a few people to be laughing, like you could just film. Like if you found one mic that you really liked and liked the people that went to that and liked the crowd, you could just do that one mic once a month just for content, 5 minutes. That's 5 different 60-second reels. So you nail 5 different jokes. You do that once a month. You can put out one a week. And then you don't have to go do all the bullshit of like driving around bad shows. Like there's different ways to do it now, which maybe some established comedians might roll their eyes or think like that wouldn't work, or that's not the way to do it because of how brutal it is for the traditional storyline of a comedian that you hear about. But I don't know. It seems like people are opening up the doors for different avenues for comedy, for people to become comedians and get in the industry.
All right. The Christy asks, what if somebody tries to Will Smith you? In my opinion, I've only done maybe 15, 16 mics, I would think it was. I've been to, I don't know how many comedy shows. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, not to say that people don't get drunk and violent, but usually security's going to take care of that. Yeah, I mean, obviously something like a Will Smith. I mean, if there's comedian on comedian violence, I mean, you can't stop that. It's like, if somebody shoots somebody in the army, you can't stop that. So, fucking that's just inevitable stuff. I mean, whatever on that. I mean, at least that's not a worry for me. I literally, I'm also a big guy too. I'm fucking, I'm not a 5'4", 120-pound girl or anything. I'm 6'3", 50. I can take care of myself.
I think my actual answer would be just clop him in the head with the mic. The mic is heavy, dude. If I see bop him right on the forehead, that would leave a big mark. I think they would go down right away. Someone's charging at you. You have a heavy thing and object in your hand. But yeah, no, I've never seen anything really remotely close to that before at a show. And it's funny because, I like going to these shows, and like we're talking about with mics, another negative part of them is they take forever to get through sometimes, and you will see some of the most like bizarre,
so weird,
nonsensical,
so weird
acts where it's almost like, and I don't want to shit on anyone's comedy, but it's like, how are you even enjoying yourself right now? Because there's different bombs. There's bombs where people like have written jokes and what they were trying to do, and it just didn't work. But then there's some open mic bombs where everyone in the crowd is like, I don't really even know what you're trying to say. Like, I'm just straight up confused. And those, like, the amount of times you and I have probably sat through so many different like bad shows, it doesn't make you, then you got to go up. It's like 20 of those, a few good ones sprinkled in, and then it's like, all right, now it's time for you to get up there. And that's like the energy in the room. It's it can be rough.
Oh, dude, it's so cringe sometimes. There was this one guy, I think his name was Dean Klompas or something like that. I can't remember his exact name, but he would just get up there, he would just take a bunch of acid and just go up there and just say a bunch of shit. And like you said, none of it was really funny. He was just talking about something that happened in his day. And that's the downside of the open mics. The show up, go up is that people just could talk about whatever. It doesn't even have to be funny. At least with the showcase stuff, where you got to email somebody, like, email me clips I know that you're about, and you can kind of hook it up like that,
Yeah.
That's why, like whenever I do mics and I see this, in entertainment, and I know why Hollywood does it, because like anytime I do something, I'm grabbing a friend from the community. I know somebody I've done a bunch of things with, because I know they're going to be reliable. They're going to make people laugh or whatever. And I'll just post something stranger. I'm like, hey, I need somebody for because for one, that people don't like that kind of stuff. You're going to get the low stragglers on that. And for two, it just doesn't vibe. It's just not the meshing thing. People are like, oh,
right.
Can we collab? I'm like, hey, well, what do you do? I'm a gaming channel. Well, there's nothing here, dude. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Sit here and laugh.
Exactly.
Your Minecraft character. I mean, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah. It's got to be the right thing. I completely agree.
Now, what was some of the first things that made you laugh? Like first comedians coming up, like when you first realized you would really like comedy, like Saturday Night Live or stand-up mics, like Seinfeld and stuff. What's up with that?
So I remember like being into the idea of Saturday Night Live. I don't really remember watching the like the program far like that often, but I remember being like, it's cool that there's a job out there where it's just like related to comedy like that it's just to make people laugh. But some of the things that I would say like first like got my sense of humor started and going is, it's not necessarily stand-up related, but like TV, like The Office, Seinfeld, those kind of shows where they were just making me laugh uncontrollable. And that was at like probably like an 8th, 9th grade age, where I was just like loving these kind of like sitcom shows, Always Sunny, stuff like that, Curb. And I was just laughing so hard. And it still kind of is comedy, but not stand-up, not what I would later get into then. And then I think really the first experience I had was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience and him bringing on Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, those guys back in the day. And one of my friends in high school, we watched Tom Segura's like first stand-up special together, and it was before or Netflix special, not stand-up special, his first like Netflix one, and it was before he was really obviously who he is now. It was Netflix wasn't even known as like the comedy special powerhouse yet, but I was like, this is so funny. I just got into stand up then because I was like, there's hours of this from so many different people that like I didn't even really know what a special necessarily was, or I hadn't seen one start to finish. So Tom Segura was really the first special I fully watched. And after that, I just went down a rabbit hole of watching all these guys, just everything I could find on YouTube. But then I would get into their podcasts and I'd hear who they admired and who they would talk about. So then I would want to go try to get into some of the older guys. And then it was, because you want to figure out who the people that inspire you, who inspired them. And so it was a big rabbit hole that all kind of started with watching like my first Tom Segura hour.
Okay.
But I was always into funny stuff. I don't watch scary movies. I don't really watch dramas. I don't play, like, I just only watch funny content. So like shows, movies, like that kind of thing. I've never been into like thrillers or scary. I've just always loved the idea of having a good time and people laughing be the main emotion from that you're getting from, content like that.
In one part of Seinfeld, when Kramer's just drinking the, beer and smoking a cigarette, here's to having a good time. To always having a good time. That's such a great fucking corollary, dude. Because I'm the same way. Like scary movies, they just bore the fuck out of me. I don't want to be scared. I mean, nothing really scares me too much anymore. I mean, I've seen, I'm not saying I'm like a fucking trauma ER nurse or anything, but there's no what. I mean, both my parents are gone, and I'm a grown ass fucking man. What's gonna scare me? I mean, to see just a jump cut in a giant fucking in a movie theater, that doesn't freak me out anymore. It fucking bores me. Like, most of those movies are fucking garbage. You know what I mean? So I totally feel I like a lot of the war movies and stuff, of being in the service and all that. But that's just information gathering kind of thing. I like seeing how they do the different war movies, and sometimes the war movies can be funny too. If it's a horribly acted out scene, you're like, it's nothing like anything is ever in a war. This is fucking hilarious. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the other thing. I like watching bad movies more than I like watching good movies. Like 100%. Same with TV shows. That's why I like watching reality shows. If I have someone with me that we vibe pretty well, we have the same senses of humor and can just like pause a show and pick apart what's happening in this like really shitty show, I'd rather watch that than like a well done show. To just be like, I can't believe, like, what are they thinking here? How is this person even real? Like, I can't believe this was made. Something that just blows your mind with how bad it is, to me, is way more entertaining than a masterpiece, because then like you kind of get to make the jokes about it too.
Oh yeah, and it has to be it has to be made with the serious intent and unintentionally funny. Because if it's like bad for the sake of bad, like Sharknado and crap like that, I just don't fuck with it.
Exactly. It has to be, especially if it's something that other people kind of enjoy, and then you watch it not with the anticipation of it being bad, but it turns out to just be completely ridiculous. That is my perfect viewing experience. Is something a ton of people love, and I just sit there and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, I get like that with some of these. I'm addicted to some of these really, really low grade YouTube channels and like what they try to pass off. And they always ask the stupidest shit, like, could I run text over a screen and do it? And there was this one channel they reviewed, and it was so stupid. It was just this guy doing a flower, and the flower is like day one of planting daisies, and it was just like a voiceover thing, and it was so fucking stupid. I don't seriously. I just subbed to it. It was just so fucking.
Well, they got a sub out of it. That's pretty funny.
It was so bad, man. It was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I did notice the start date of your channel, April 1, 2020. Now, is this a COVID baby? Or were you planning to do this thing before the shutdown?
Well, I actually saw that that's my start date, and it's funny because it's a comedy related channel, and somehow I unintentionally started on April 1st, which is pretty sick because they display that and that's April Fool's Day, obviously. But this did start. The channel was founded in 2020, and then it was pretty much dormant for like a year, and then I started posting again in April of 2021. I think I uploaded it's unlisted now, but there's a few skits of myself and some of my friends for like the first 3 videos. because I needed, during COVID, when I started the channel, it was just unlisted videos because we were all locked up, obviously, during the quarantine phase, and I was just making skits for my friends, like for my group chat, like by myself in my room playing like a bunch of different characters, but they were all like based on inside jokes of our friend group, our high school friend group that, you know, we're still all in touch. So, but they were too big, the files were too big to text to this like 16-person group chat. So I just made a YouTube channel so I could upload them and send the unlisted links. So the things from April 2020 are all just like stupid skits of myself doing inside jokes for my high school friends. And then after the quarantine ended, I just forgot all about it. And then when the Joke World idea came to me, it was about a year later. So yeah, we're now in over a year, but it didn't technically start till April 2021.
Nice. That's how my channel is. It looks like when I first got the Google account was October 2012, but we didn't start the show until May 2019. You know what I mean? So yeah, people go review it. So that's what I had this old channel, dude, who I can't get a hold of because like YouTube wouldn't give me the password or anything, but I got a funny ass video on there, but it's got all music in it too. Because back then you could put music and shit and they didn't care. Now it's like play one second of a fucking song and you get copyright strikes. But I noticed something while I was reviewing your channel. Your initial intro, dude. Me and you got the same thing. We both used the Still Dre piano riff on the intro coming in, like your first intro. You mind if I share it real quick?
Oh yeah. I was like, I thought you were talking about the intro to each video. Yeah. The Joke World video. Yeah.
Right, hold on, I'll share the first couple seconds of it real quick. Hold on.
And then the date on that, I believe, is April 15th, 2021. This was the first video on the channel.
I was 22, I got involved with the Russian Mafia. Here's how it happened.
Yeah, so that was you had that guitar riff from that piano riff from Still Dre. Dude, I had the same riff. I'll show you mine now. I'll show you my first intro. We don't use it because like, dude, intros like for live shows are ridiculous. Like this is just my opinion right here, okay? And I know a lot of people get flagged for this. Some people are like, oh, you just put up a screen for 3 minutes and people are getting ready now. When you say you're gonna go live, you go live. I mean, you don't put up a gathering screen. This isn't fucking the gathering room at St. Brendan's or St. Raphael's of Afaria or some shit. You know what I mean? You go live when you say you go live. But so the intro kind of fucks with that. But this intro, it was just such a coincidence, dude. This is so funny. This is my initial intro, starring Mr. Hurricane Peter McNeely. Whoa, hold on, that's not it. Hold on.
This is Hurricane Peter McNeely. Listen to the STD podcast.
Yeah, same one.
Same exact riff, bro.
That is a great ending to that one too. That is a very that is a coincidence there. But it's funny because in my first intro, that is funny. In my first intro video though, I had so many different ideas of what it was going to be. At first I thought it was going to be a channel of like watching a bunch. It was dedicated mostly to stand up because that's what I was way more into at the time. But now it's kind of, and so I thought I'd be like reviewing specials all the time and like picking out best jokes, cut ups of specials and stuff and posting highlights from stand up. But it seems like people are just so much more into comedians' podcast footage than their actual on stage footage. So it's weird seeing that video because it's like Joke World is, and it's mostly people on stage and involved in stand up. But if you went to the channel right now, it's like 99.9% podcast clips or videos of me talking about podcasts and podcast clips. So it is funny what I thought it was going to be versus where we're at now.
Well, it's wild too, because like everybody's talking about, Norm Macdonald has this last stand-up special. I was like, all right, sweet, I get to see it. And when I clicked it, it was just a fucking Zoom call, and he was just saying stuff like this, like jokes, like comedy, laugh, make people laugh, jokes. Like I'm different. People, I mean, it's the whole online versus in person thing. I'm the same in person as I am online, But like online, like stand up doesn't the traditional in your face stand up doesn't translate to online. Like when I'm doing open panels, I'm going to have different stuff because I'm going to be noticing people's appearances, their mannerisms. When me and you were talking like this, we're just talking, you know, text and factual stuff. There's different stuff when you're looking at somebody, you hear them laugh and stuff like that. When you hearing people laugh and their reactions is half a comedy, in my opinion. Like any dumbass can go up there and say jokes and recite fucking bullshit, but if you get them laughing and you hear it and you get good interaction, eye contact, that's the stuff you can't replicate. That's the stuff you got to get.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing like being there in person, either way, on stage or in the audience. Because how do you like to do you like to attend like other touring comedian shows too that are in the area, or just, you know, invest in?
I don't really do it much because like I try to be original, and it sounds weird because I don't really do mics now as much as I did, but like I remember Brian Regan had a joke about when's the baby due? Like you never ask a pregnant woman when she's, you know, if she's pregnant, because unless you've seen a baby coming out, that kind of thing. And I told the joke on stage one time. It was fucking the exact same joke he had, just maybe a couple different words. And so I try to not cross-pollinate too much of it. And to be honest with you, man, a lot of it just gets so repetitive. Like people are so, and this is a cool question too, down this line. People are so, I don't want to use the word woke because as soon as you say that, you know, people think you're got a fucking Trump flag in your pickup truck or something like that, and that's far from the truth. Anybody's for any.
That's like so true, dude. If you call out any sort of wokeness like that, they're like, "Okay, so you're racist." And it's like, what? I can't just have a middle opinion.
All right, we got a donation from Dorito, so it's gummy time. If you guys want to donate like $10, $20 or more, I'll do a cup, a s'mores cup, only for $20 or more because those things ain't cheap, and I could probably easily flip those bad boys. But, the guy, I just totally forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about comedy and then doing mics.
You were talking about woke or not?
Oh, the woke was that's what it was. That's what it was. So F word in comedy. Now, what's your thought on using it? Like, is hold on, I gotta look at my question. I had this worded perfect. What will you entertain stuff without it in it? Like if somebody came to you and said, "Hey Jake, I got this idea, but you can't use swear words and stuff like that," or are you going to capitulate to whoever has the highest dollar and shit like that? Because like, dude, I can't stand. I mean, I try not to swear, but I mean, sometimes you gotta say fuck this and that. What's your opinion on all that? Yeah,
like working clean and
basically working clean and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
So when I started being in, I've never worked. I talk and I swear while I speak. It's just, you know, in my language, like that's just how I talk, I guess, especially like around my friends and stuff, but not around my family, especially like my parents and my older family. But when I'm with my friends and stuff like that, it just is natural to swear, I guess. So on stage also I like to be more, I guess not like edgy, but I don't work clean, I guess, on stage. Most of them are the premises or some of the content involves swear words or something along those lines. So it's natural to be swearing during those type of jokes. But that's just in an open mic where you're on stage and it's over as soon as it's over. Where I've had to think about it differently once I started filming myself in these videos, and on my podcast, if I was going to swear or not, because that is on the internet, that lasts forever. And like I said, I don't do that in front of, you know, the older people in my family, my parents and whatnot, but they do know about my YouTube channel. So it's like I had to make a decision because that's how I naturally talk. That's how I joke around. I think using swear words can be funny a lot of times, and you have more options to be funny if you have a full vocabulary. So it's almost necessary sometimes. So I kind of had to make a decision there, and I just kind of decided that it'd be best if I was the most authentic version of myself, which is just naturally saying fuck or shit or whatever is on the tip of my tongue and just talking and reacting how I would normally react and not trying to self-censor myself because I'm already have a lot going on. You know, I'm relatively new to the on-camera content experience, so I don't want to be overthinking it too much and you know, making myself more nervous than I have to be. And I just think it's funnier, and the clips I'm putting on my channel, usually the comedians are swearing, and it's that vein of comedy that I post the things on my channel that I think are funny because I want to have a community of like-minded comedy fans. This is all my sense of humor. So that's just kind of how I talk. Oh, we got another gummy.
We got another donation from Mr. Paul Wright Lawns. Thank you, sir. He's got a beautiful channel. If you like lawn mowing and crypto chat, that's the thing with the community, Jake, is it's so random. Like the people who like when I first started, I'll tell you about our YouTube channel growth. Like we had, I wanted to do here's the Gummies, don't prove it that. We wanted to do I call it a podcast. If you notice, that first thing was called STD podcast because I'm thinking, okay, this is what everybody's doing. And we can have like on Apple Podcast, follow me on all platforms. So I tried doing it, and man, the audio only version, this one didn't. Well, half the time we're talking over each other, so that didn't really work well. And it's just that whole world is just really judgmental, kind of, because it's like you got to do stuff for these rating stars. If you don't get your rating stars, you don't talk about the stuff they talk about, the way they want to talk about it. You're not gonna get the rating. And then they're chasing the fucking star system. I just don't like that vibe. I want to be myself and have people follow me if they like me. If they don't, they don't. But like in the whole growth thing, like I would just come say hi to everybody. Hey, what's up? Anytime I see a streamer, like drop in and say hi. Pretty much, the open mics of my day are the different YouTube streams and shit. Like we got a huge random community from all kinds of different passions and whatnot. That part's really fun, man. I love it.
And the stupid thing about the mainstream way to do it on Apple and Spotify and all that shit, the only metric that is measurable for like podcast growth is downloads, which I don't know if you even listen to podcasts like on your own, other comedians ones, but when I'm listening to a podcast, sports podcast, whatever, I never download it unless I'm going on an airplane. That's the only time I've ever downloaded episodes in my life is if I'm flying, because why else really would you? Unless you're doing it to support the channel, which now I've started. If I like an episode or I like the show, I want to show support, I'll start downloading it. But I only know that because of being on the other side. And so for anything for advertisers, monetization, or just general growth, or to get your podcast pushed out to more people, the only thing that those mains, the Spotify, the Apple, it's all just based on downloads. And you could have thousands of listens, but if they don't download it and take up data on their phone, which not a lot of people want to do, you have really nothing to show for it, which is pretty stupid.
Oh yeah. My buddies, I'm in a Browns group, and my buddies do a decent podcast. I mean, they're good at what they do, but yeah, it's just like, beyond telling all your friends, this and that, it's like podcasting limits you to so little, like 5 to 10% of people. Maybe I don't know what the percentage is, but like everybody watches YouTube. They may not watch it all the time, but like I guarantee you 90% of the people you see with a mobile device or fucking computer, they probably been on YouTube to, take a look at something to help with their car or whatever, see some entertainment link. It's the place to be, in my opinion. I just, I got so I dropped the audio only link. We went balls in, and during the pandemic, that McNeely interview. Well, the first celeb was William Hung. If you remember American Idol, you might be a little young for William Hung, but back in
sounds familiar.
American Idol season 4, 5, or 6, somewhere in there, like 2004, 2005. He come on there, and he's a really nice guy, but he has no talent when it comes to singing. Obviously they're pushing him through because he has a the ridiculous accent. He sang Ricky Martin, "She Bang, She Bang."
Oh yeah. I've seen that a million times. You talked to him on this?
Yes, he was the first celeb we had. That 46th episode, and then after that, I just started DMing every celebrity on Facebook I ever could. It was ridiculous. I thought I was like really bigger than I was, and I got lucky on a couple of first ones. Man, we had Peter McNeely. That interview just blew up, man, because it was the 25th anniversary when he fought Mike Tyson, and it just caught on the algorithm and took it off. Wow. And then it's got. There's been like 100 different celebs on since that point. But yeah, it was just so much more fun in that arc than just doing the regular podcasting where you just, dude, if we're being real, every show is, there's 4 guys talking about pop culture. I got a lot of friends, and that's literally every show. Every show's that. Maybe 2 to 4 guys here. We're talking about beers, you got to bring your spice. You got to fucking bring the heat. You got to make them laugh. People are just going to stay in that 50 to 100 sub range and just, they like doing their thing, but is it going to be a realistic growth model? I don't know. Who knows? But we could have a class on YouTube for about fucking 4 years, brother.
Yeah. And that makes sense because that is what every show is like, and that's why yours is different, and it's sticking out. Oh, you got another one, another gummy.
Technically, I did say $4.20 for the minimum donation, but we'll rock through with the party because.
Well, here's the fucked up thing about this: they're making you eat all these gummies, but the show's going to be over by the time they can see them kick in. So now you're just eating gummies for for no reason.
No, we'll probably be on an after party or something like that. Usually we
okay.
stream with somebody. Like I said, we're stream hoes at this point, man. We just I am starting to feel in the first couple of gummies. But yeah, we're on YouTube. Like if I got free time, I'm on YouTube. I mean, instead of, you know, some people have they go in the garage, work in a car for an hour and a half. I go on YouTube and hang out my buddy's streams, you know?
Yeah, no, that's sick. I definitely get that. And I got about 10 minutes left, but I wish because I have another thing after this. I wish I could stay longer though. We should do another one of these. Maybe get more into some football because definitely need to talk some sports next time. But I do want to comment on, you know, doing your own thing. That and every podcast being the same, like 4 dudes talking about pop culture, just reminded me of what we were talking about before, which is like when I was transitioned and started getting, I think, better at stand-up when I you know, stopped doing the different jokes every time and could write longer than a minute was when I started studying comedy more and was going to these podcasts. But it was always so hard to we weave through or find through the maze of all the pop culture and modern references that they're talking about in jokes, the little nuggets of information about writing jokes or like the art of stand-up, kind of behind the scenes stuff, because their episodes are meant to be entertaining. They're not really sharing that much content of how to become a comedian, what it takes to be a comedian. So that's always what I was interested in listening to these, because I was listening to it not even to be entertained. I know these guys are funny. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a good joke, but I'm trying to learn about, you know, how did you start and how did you first become a regular at this club and stuff like that. So then when I had the chance to talk to these guys on my podcast, some of these comedians I've got to interview, that's kind of what my show is about, is like asking them very specific industry questions that kind of, they're boring to people that don't love comedy, you know, like being like, what's the difference between the LA scene and the New York scene? And like, when did you start? How did you become a regular? How do you write your jokes? They're all things that I wish there was a show like that when I was looking for this information. And maybe there was, I just never found it. But now I'm just trying to kind of become the show that I was looking for, like a show for comedians, even more than for the average listener. Although obviously you love average listeners.
Rico, the cheers for Rico, because he was the one who first pointed me out to you. So cheers to Mike. He says, was it a coincidence Joke World released Joey Diaz forcing those stars on peeps? Cheers, guys. And he donated the
yeah, Rico's the new Joey Diaz and you're Lee in this situation. That video got age restricted, and I was sad about that because it was my first video with the new sponsor, Freeze Pipe, which is a sick bong company. And so I wanted to make a weed related video because obviously the people watching that would be more likely to use the referral link. So it's good for me. It's good for Freeze Pipe. And YouTube within like 47 minutes age restricted that video. And it has like 3 different claims and stuff on it. It's kind of tanking, honestly. So I feel bad because that was my first run with the sponsor, but we'll be back. We'll do another one. So
yeah, every video I get afterwards always gets limited ads, and I always got to request a review because I think it's because STD's in the title of every show. I don't know. It's what it is. I don't. Yeah. I mean, this is my first. I've only been monetized for like a month and a half. I'm gonna ask you some questions about here in a second, but like I make like $7 off ads in a month. I mean, it's fucking nuts. It's not worth my time worrying about. As you can see, my money's in the super chats and membership and shit like that. I'm not even gonna waste my time worrying about ads and sponsors, bro. Now, but and then your YouTube growth arc. At what point did you realize you get some solid success on here?
So I started at first. I was just like, it's all about getting content up on channel. You know, content is king. Just get stuff up. And it's funny because the first few months of my channel, I don't like the quality of it. You know, I was just in a space of just like get as much as you can posted, so make edits. Nowadays it takes me 2 or 3 days per video because I'm making the very best thing that I can. But before, when I was super new to it and not as talented at editing, it was just all about speed and quantity over quality. So probably 5, 6, 7 months of just like trying to post 5 times a week minimum, 25 times a month. And just kept repeating that over and over again. Then one would pop, but there's a long spell of like, I'd have 7 subscribers and I'd have 19 a month later. And then it was maybe 10 to 20 subscribers a month for a while. And then it wasn't about till like maybe the 300 range. I slowly built it up to 300. And then after that, it just took off and it really started going, it started going 50 a day for like a few weeks. And I was like, oh my God, 50 a day. Then it started going 100 a day and then started going, then it would have spikes of like videos getting super popular where it would go more. And then I started to kind of figure out what makes the algorithm work or like what makes your video grow. And sometimes back in the day, I'd be posting 2-3 videos a day because I just thought you had to get it all out. And then I realized, just kind of how to do it differently, I guess, because I don't know. And it is random too. That's the other thing. Like I can sit here and try to be like, say whatever, but it is random what this algorithm is how many times it's going to show you as a recommended video and how many times it's going to show you on the homepage. And then, you think about how it recommends you more the longer people watch. So view duration is a big part of it. So I started thinking about that and how I organize like clips in order, like putting as many funny ones in the front end as possible, because the longer they view the video, the more likely it'll be to get recommended. And the more comments you can generate, the more likely it'll be to get recommended. Here's something that is like a stupid trick, but it might have worked. Everyone always is commenting, especially before, that my intro to the video is too loud. It's the what's the deal with airplane peanuts part. And at first it was an accident. It was just too loud. But after I realized that every single comment was about that, I made it even just a little bit louder for a few months because everyone was just annoyed and commenting to turn down the intro volume, which was generating positive things in the algorithm. They don't know what the comment says, so it was helping things get recommended. So like that's like a very specific example, and it's not like you can try it, but I've heard of people like purposely fucking up words, so people comment like you're spelling stuff wrong, so people correct them in comments, and it's just like a kind of a sneaky way to trick the algorithm. But yeah, I'd say it just inched my way up to like 300, and then just kind of YouTube took it from there. It's hard to take credit for like what the algorithm is doing, but yeah.
Right, it's totally random. I've had spikes, but I've never had that like quote unquote viral moment. It's been all kind of. I mean, I had 3 kind of good pop interviews: Buff Bagwell, Peanut McNeely, and Tommy Chong were probably the big pinch points where I got decent, huge. I wouldn't have been monetized if not for that Buff Bagwell interview for sure. I got like 1,400 watch hours. That was a solid one. But like, I've never had like that huge, oh, wow, I woke up and there's 150 more subs than I never had yet. But who knows? I got to monetize where my goal was to monetize this and be able to talk whatever I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to be niche down because I don't like niching down because I mean, I've reiterated a bunch of times. I don't like repetition. I like talking about different shit because I'm very random. I like different things: football, comedy, movies, whatever. And I don't want to talk about one thing in my life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. The biggest spike I ever saw that just like blew my mind, and honestly it made me numb to numbers ever since, because like after seeing this and not freaking out or just like feeling weird, I just realized that my brain might just be broken and these numbers aren't surprising me for some reason anymore. But the Will Smith thing was so good, like so good for my making part 1, 2, and 3 of every comedian reacting to Will Smith. The first one has 3 million views now, but they all accumulated within like 2 weeks. Like it was just like the YouTube chart is just like a straight line up in April when that happened.
Nice.
I think I went from like in the 60,000 range subscriber wise to in the 80s in just April. And it was like really purely based off these 3 Will Smith videos. And that's also when I realized that people really want to see like all these popular comedians' reactions in one place, and I've been doing that ever since. And that month was just great for me, but it was completely random. Like I had to bank on the biggest celebrity in the world slapping the biggest comedian in the world at the Oscars. Like how is that? I can't, and then I just randomly made that video.
And well, most of us standard comedians, we don't want to touch that with the 10-foot pole because it was just such a whatever. We're like, fuck talking about Will Smith. I do not want to talk about that. You know what I mean? So that's awesome. Yeah. 3 quick ones before we get out of here. Thoughts on the UK or Edinburgh Fringe or any UK comedians in general? What's your thoughts on UK comedy?
I honestly don't know much about it, and I'm sorry to disappoint the UK crowd. I know Jimmy Carr, I guess, would be like the number one comedian I know from overseas, and I know that other comedians love to go on tours over there, and it's a huge comedy community and thriving at that. But yeah, I guess I need to expand my horizons because especially because I'm not too sure about their podcast scene in general either, and that's kind of a lot of what my channel is.
All right, what do you think about this? Is a inside running joke. Thoughts with sex with a stuffed bear? What are your thoughts on that? Not good or not good?
I guess it totally depends on the situation, what the bear's wearing, how many drinks you've had, and what time of night it is.
All right, before we get out of here, did you apply for the Silver Creative Award? And if so, where is it?
Yeah, it's right behind me. I did apply for it. They sent it to me. I received it like 2 days ago. I can show it to you here.
Let's bring you up big before you get out of here. This is cool. Here, hold on. Check this out, guys. There's some motivation for you, boys. Look at that. 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Hell yeah. Nice.
It's a mirror there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It came with a nice note. That was pretty inspirational. Just talking about the long journey that YouTube has been, and it was spot on. So it was pretty cool. Obviously, at a certain point that you're bound to, like, once you're in like at like 95 or so thousand, you're like, I know it's coming, but it's still, once I actually held it, I was like, all right, this is pretty sick.
Hell yeah, man. Good stuff, bro. All right, thanks for Jake for joining us. He has got prior obligation. Definitely check out his channel, Joke World. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later. See you next week.
Thanks, Joe.
Peace, man.